everybody. It's Donna. And guess what? It's not Norma.
No, it's not Norma.
It's Reverend Cindy. She is with me today. And today we have Caring for Caregivers Special Edition. No, just kidding. It's actually just another kind of caregiver. So you don't work in the medical field anymore. You used to, kind of, sort of, right?
I was a social worker.
Yeah, see? So she's a caregiver and she gives, and she is still a... Tell us all about you, Reverend Cindy.
Goodness.
I'm going to sit back and let you talk about you.
Well, okay. So
How do you care for people?
I'm Reverend Cindy Grimes, and I'm the senior minister at the Center for Spiritual Living in Ocala, Florida. And I'm also co-director of a nonprofit organization called Circle Up Center for Practical Peace Building. And I am a mom and a grandma, and I've just been taking care of people. And I'm a daughter, of aging parents. So I'm a caregiver in a lot of different aspects. It's tiring. All right, just hearing it, right?
Just hearing it. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me take a second. I'm tired for you, child. I'm tired for you. Center for Spiritual Living, Ocala.
That's us.
Hi, guys. I love y'all so much. There's her beautiful face. Isn't it so wonderful? I just love our center. And so I decided to ask Reverend Cindy to join me today because we're talking about something that she does a lot of.
That is true.
And she is an expert in this particular modality. And just a little bit of who I am. My name is Donna Davis. I'm one half of Your Phoenix is Rising, which is a coaching company for wellness, using mind, body, and spirit techniques to help you feel better and to show up the best version of you. And so we take you and we mold you and we take care of you and we massage you and give you facials and dance around you and do whatever we need to do to uplift you. And that's what we do here at Your Phoenix is Rising. So we decided to do this show. I'm also a registered nurse, been on the front line now since the beginning of the crazy that is COVID. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. Very, very tired. But I have learned so much stuff while being on the front line and working with these nurses and seeing these patients and also being the daughter of an aging mom who eventually made her transition. And so now Your Phoenix is Rising is also helping others through a nurse registry, which is actually a way to connect people who are needing care and people who have that skill. To bring them together and to partner them in a beautiful way. That's what we're also doing here at the Nurse Registry, which is Life Lift. And multiple hats myself. I'm a daughter, a friend, a cohort, a fun, all of that, and a caregiver. And so my energy is expelled on a regular basis. And that's why we decided this show was important. That's why we're doing it. Hi, Wayne. How you doing, honey, from Calgary? It's got to be cold up in there. That's in its own thing. I am sending you lots and lots of Florida love. And hopefully you can get a little bit of warmth. We had a cold spell there for a little bit. So
right up until this morning.
Yeah, I lost one plant. I was very... But we're going to talk about nature today. And so that today is what our aspect of self-care is. But before we do that, Reverend Cindy, can you pray us in? Just get a center. We're going to have a centering moment, you guys.
And even before we pray us in, before I pray us in, I just want to say how awesome this is. And for whoever is watching to understand that you all walk your talk so beautifully, because this is a happy place when I come here. and I know I will speak for probably anybody that comes into this home and into your presence that feels that healing and that relaxation and that knowing that they're not judged and that they are loved. And that's what heals people. That's what rejuvenates us. And you are in the exact perfect place for who you are and your talents and gifts. And I'm super
and I love being this little auntie's house in the middle of town. That's what I tell people. I'm like, it's like going to auntie's house where you know that if you're hungry, we're going to feed you. If you are in pain, we're going to figure out a way to help you ease that pain. And sometimes people just come by because they just need a hug.
Yeah.
And it's okay to just need a hug.
Yeah, it warms my heart so much to know that you do this and that you're out there as a nurse taking care of people who are not well, to be in your loving presence. I mean, there would be nothing better for somebody who needs that.
And it breaks my heart that I have to say sometimes that I that I don't like nursing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just awful. And I feel like the modality that is nursing is beating up on the healthcare workers now.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to walk away. We don't want to leave our precious little grandmas and grandfathers who come in there and they're dementiated and they just need us to stand for them. We don't want to leave them, but healthcare's beating us up. So, how can we then combat some of that?
That's right. And
To
how,
keep
how
us
to
there
provide
longer.
that care while honoring yourself, caring for yourself, because, that's part of what we teach, right? Is that we have to be
Exactly.
the example.
Exactly.
You can't be teaching wellness to somebody else when you're,
And you're
down
not.
in the dumps and you're not doing the stuff yourself. That just doesn't work.
Oh, Josh said if
So,
I ever go to the hospital, I'm asking for you.
mhm.
Thank you, Josh. I actually have a couple of patients that are like, "You're coming back tomorrow, right? You're sure, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure."
Well, luckily you don't have to go to the hospital to see Donna and feel that wonderful healing presence.
Yes, you can do it right now.
Yes, yes, yes. So with that, we will go ahead and pray and take a nice deep breath and just be here in this moment. And so we release everything with our breath and take another one, just another nice deep breath, releasing the past and anything that has come before this moment. And any concerns or worries or thoughts or anxiety or anything about what may be coming in the future. And just be here right now, in this time and in this place, with your breath. And feel your body relax into the moment. As I have myself just come from the outdoors, I'm reminded of this power and presence that runs in, around, and through all things. It's in the birds and the trees and the sun and the moon, the stars. It's in each one of the connective tissue between my heart and yours, all of us part of this one being. And so from this place of oneness and wholeness, from this space of love and joy and connection, I can speak my word for myself and everyone else here within the sound of my voice. I know the truth, the spiritual truth of who we are is wholeness. I know it is peace. I know it is love. I know it is connection. And so I come from that space of clarity, that space of understanding, that space of oneness. And I just affirm for each one of us here that everything is unfolding in its perfect and right divine order. No matter what may be going on in any aspect of life, whether in relationships or at work or in our physical form, whatever may be in front of us, that everything is unfolding in its perfect and right divine order as spirit is conspiring on our behalf. And so with that comes confidence. With that comes strength. With that comes faith. And knowing that all is well. That all is well. And with that comes ease and joy. And so I'm grateful for this time that we have together. I'm grateful for Donna and myself and everyone here connected, that we are each the eyes and ears and mind and voice of Spirit itself. And so I just affirm that Spirit speaks here today, and that what needs to be said is said, and whatever needs to be heard is heard, and that folks are uplifted and inspired by this conversation. So I'm grateful for this time. I'm grateful for knowing that all of this is already done, as it is already an idea in the mind of God, and we simply step into it. And I release these words with joy and with gratitude and with expectation, joyous expectation of what is to come. And I just let it go. And we say, and so it is. And so it is.
Thank you so much. It's so different when somebody else is doing it.
Because you usually do it for me.
I know. I was doing it for her. Oh my goodness. So today's conversation is about the aspect of self-care that is walking in nature. Getting out under the trees, under the stars, putting your feet in the ground and walking in nature. It is very powerful, y'all. I do this at the hospital. Let me tell you, here's my story around this. When I'm having a particularly difficult shift and clients are pulling on my energy, I'm talking about like, oh my gosh, you know, people with mental illness, people with dementia, just pulling on my energy. And then you have all these checks and balances. You got to go, 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 go. You hit the ground at 7 o'clock, I get report. I don't sit down again until I take lunch at almost noon, sometimes longer than noon. I'm just running, give meds, do this, call this, that, da, 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 da. And our nurses out there can understand that. And now let's add PPE on top of it. You're wearing a mask, you're wearing the plastic thing between you and the COVID. And all of that is happening. And you feel, and the beeping, the constant beeping of all the machines and the call lights and the ringing of the phone. And I'm painting a picture for y'all so you can understand what people in healthcare go through when they're working in a hospital dealing with this pandemic. And what I do is, when I get the opportunity, and I don't get it all the time, but when I get the opportunity to take my lunch, I go outside as often as I can. Now that I'm working locally, I can actually, Norma comes and picks me up, and I come home and I stand in front of grandmother tree and I put my hands on her and I just say, just take it. And I know I look crazy to the people across the way here, but in that moment, I feel a little better. And I don't know what happens, and maybe it's just in my head. But even if it's just in my head, it drops into my heart, which then allows my body to just relax. It's only a half an hour, so I got to shovel in food real quick. But I still take that moment. There's sometimes, like when I'm out on assignment and I'm not at home and I can't get back to grandmother tree, I'll find a way to go outside. Even if I can't physically get down the elevator to go, I'll find a big window and I will just stand. I maybe put my earbuds in and I'll just stare out. A lot of hospitals have like trees and water features. And anytime I get my chance to do that, that's how I do it. And then I take my deep breaths in that moment. And I remember what is real. And what is real in that moment is that the sun rises and sets every day without fail. What is real is that this tree has been standing for how many years? Every day in the same spot without fail. What is real is the next breath. And all of that I am experiencing, and everything my patients are experiencing, and healthcare is experiencing, and all of that is nothing but the story of each human interaction as we navigate the world. But what's real is the sun is rising and setting every day, and that babies are being born somewhere in the world, and that dogs are barking at a stranger somewhere in the world, and that somewhere in the world someone's passing on. There's joy, there's sorrow, there's everything. All of it. But that's the story that we are in. And when I remember, oh, it's a story, then I tell myself, this is but a drop in the bucket of time. 10 years from now, am I going to remember standing in this very spot? I probably won't remember that patient's face. I definitely won't remember their name. I won't remember the nurse that pissed me off or the doctor that said something on the sly or at the corner of his mouth, whatever. I will not remember how much my feet hurt in that moment, because the sun will still be rising and set. See what I'm saying? Thank you. And that's what I do. It's the only thing that keeps me sane sometimes. And I, have my little Malabies because it reminds me of Earth. Earth. Yes, the truth is we're standing on a planet that's in orbit around a sun. And the truth is that life continues on. And this moment, in this time, no matter how difficult that shift is, it is just a drop in the bucket of time. And I breathe and I look at those trees and I think, how long have they been standing? I can stand.
And how long will they be here when we're gone?
How long are they here?
Right. I mean,
grandmother tree, that 200-300-year-old tree that's in front of my house, I think, what has she seen? What has she endured? How many storms have come and passed? And here she still stands. Stronger and more fabulous than ever. And I think, I'm God expressed just like her. I can do it too. And I pull on the energy of nature and I allow for it to just drop into nature. When I get out of there, I peel everything off. I take my shoes off and I stand on the ground and just let nature soak it back. I'm a Virgo, so I'm really connected to nature that way. But that's my story and that's how I use nature, walking in nature.
Well, I don't think it's not just in your mind. There's lots of science behind it. They call it, there's grounding. In Japan, I think there are even people who they go out in groups to go out in nature in, what do they call it? Forest bathing, I think is what it's called.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, forest bathing. Isn't that
that's
beautiful?
So nice.
So, it's funny because I was not always a nature lover. I grew up in the city till I was like 8-9 years old. And in New York City, it's like you go from the car or the train station or whatever to the apartment. And that's it. There's no going outside to play. There was none of that until we moved to the suburbs. And then we had like a backyard. So I was really taught to be afraid of nature. There's bugs and who knows what kind of critters might be out there. Like, city girls don't mess with that stuff. And then, I kind of did Girl Scouts. And so that was a little opening for me to know what that was to be outdoors. But really and truly, it wasn't until I got into New Thought. And Reverend Peggy, my mentor, was the one that said, you need to spend some time outside. Get out there in the dirt, go out there in the trees, go out there in the parks. And I was like, I don't know about this, We're in Florida.
Something could bite me.
Yeah, something could bite me. There's
now my wife have to
here.
check me for ticks. That's
exactly. We live in Florida and there's mosquitoes and God knows all kinds of stuff out there. But, I really developed a love of nature. And it was gradual even. So I'd go out and walk and then it was like, well, I can't waste my time just walking, So I was always listening to something or doing something else at the same time. And I still do some of that, but I have evolved now to just making walking my meditation. And there is something about being outside, outdoors, and seeing God's creation, right? Not our creation, but God's creation. I didn't bring this here. I didn't create any of this. And here it has been for eons. And here it will be when I'm long gone. And I'm worried about what? It just kind of
puts in the bucket of time is what you're worried about.
Right? It puts things in perspective. You just go like, I'm not the boss of everything. And thank God for that. That there is this other thing, this other power that we're part of. We didn't bring ourselves even into this.
Sure did.
Right? Not. If I'd had that choice, I might have picked a different kind of body. I don't know. But the fact is, this is what we got. It's a gift. It's a gift that, we just get to be here and enjoy these bodies and this experience of life and nature. And, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Now we're not always in that space, right? Of course, I just came from the woods, so I'm reminded of that.
I know that I've gotten a better understanding of it and a more appreciation now that I'm older. Do you find that that's the case?
Oh yes, yeah.
I wonder about the young people that are out there, the teenagers who are on their games, and I know parents are always thinking about this, like, oh man, go outside. But it almost has a feeling of kind of being trapped in a different world. and wanting to be in that world and not in this one. And I think it's because
Mhm.
this world's so painful that the beauty that is the world is shrouded in the pain that is going on in society. And it's so painful that they just want to escape it.
Mhm.
And we can't say, even if their world is perfect, even if their lives are perfect, their family's wonderful, they got lots of money, yada 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 yada, you still look at the crazy that's out there, COVID and politics and wars and disasters, and it just seems as if the whole world is going to explode at any moment.
Mhm.
Why bother? And so they run and hide.
Right.
Being in nature and connecting to the awesomeness that is our planet, it's like we took that away from them at such a young age. Like I remember recess was a thing. We went outside and just played. Climb a tree, jump down a blah blah blah, roll down a hill. All that stuff that we did as children that now we're so focused on, are they the next big star or are they the next intelligent whatever? Put them in the next class, put them in the next thing. All this stuff, but then they completely lose their love for what is real, which is stars and moon and all of that.
Yeah. And there's fear too. I think the parents put the fear in the kids. I think of people I grew up with who also were city folks, that would put fear into their children. My cousins, like none of these people are outdoor folks. They don't go to the beaches and hang out, or they don't want to walk in the woods or hike in the mountains. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a fear that was put in them. Of nature. I mean, there's people that fear everything. So let's put that fear on what's out there in the woods too. Right? It's an extension of our fear.
And some of it is well-meaning people saying, well, be careful because there's germs out there. You can get sick and die. You can catch cold. Oh my God. One of the things I heard when I was young, you can catch cold in the bottom of your feet. Did you hear that?
No.
So being barefoot is not good. You can catch a cold in the bottom of your feet.
Now, I didn't hear it like that, but I did grow up in the North where you wear shoes everywhere all the time. And we were taught that wearing shoes was like, not wearing shoes outside was like...
It's a no-no.
It's a no-no. It's absolutely a no-no.
Yeah. And where I grew up in the tropics in Jamaica, and being barefoot outside just meant you were really poor. So nobody wants to do that.
Exactly. And I think that was part of it. Too, right? So you always have to have shoes on. Plus, there were things, there are things if you're walking around barefoot out in the dirt that can get in your feet. So yeah, there's a happy medium.
Yeah, you can still be barefoot a little bit. You get to the patch of grass, you take your shoes off, you stand in the patch of grass, right? Thank you, Diego. False evidence appearing real.
Right.
I also love the one, face everything and rise. Hello, fear, face everything and rise. I love that one too. The fact is that kids, I remember when my kids were really young, I could not get them to keep clothes on. Was that a thing? Like, you ever notice that babies just love being naked?
Yes.
It's like they don't want shoes. You'll be lucky you get that diaper on them to keep it on. They just want to run wild and crazy out there. And you're like, please put something on. This could happen to you. This could happen. And they're like, no, I'm not. And you put the clothes on them and they got it off. And now they're naked again. At what point do we then start making the agreement that says, you're right. I shouldn't be outside barefoot. I shouldn't be running around in the grass. I shouldn't roll around in the dirt. I shouldn't do all of that. At some point the fear kind of clicks in.
Sure, we get domesticated.
We
get domesticated. That's what is Don Miguel Ruiz, who says that we get domesticated.
We do get put
in the box.
Yeah, and then we stay there. Well, I'm busting out. No.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing I love the most about being outside and being from Jamaica, and I didn't really appreciate this until I got much, much older, was that Jamaica had mountains and ocean very close to each other. So you could be on the beach one moment and a short drive, not even 5 minutes, and you're climbing up a mountain. And to be on the mountain looking out at the ocean, there's something about that experience that's just incredible. And I didn't realize how wonderful it was until I no longer had it. Came to
Mhm.
Florida, and Florida was flat. Or
Mhm.
you go up in North Carolina, you have mountains but no ocean. Or you
Mhm.
get the ocean, but the ocean was freezing cold,
Mhm.
like in California. I was like, yay, sunshine. And oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no. I put one toe in that ocean. I was like, oh, no. Yeah. Or it's just really murky and you can't really see.
Mhm.
This last time when we went to Jamaica, I thought, wow, this whole time, this was part of my upbringing.
Mhm.
And I never, ever actually stood outside, soaked it in. None of that.
That reminds me of something, and I don't know how many people watching this are going to relate to this, or even if you'll relate, but um, there's cultural things also, right? So especially for us girls with a little color or a little melanin, it's like, you can't be messing up the hair, so we don't go swimming,
You don't swim.
right? So people don't swim. That's another
Mhm.
cultural thing that I also overcame as an adult. But isn't it crazy to live in a place as beautiful as Jamaica, surrounded by all these beaches, and not get in the water?
There's a lot of island people who do not swim. And the
Mm-hmm.
only theory that I came up with was that because we have the ocean, to learn to swim in the ocean, you're fighting current, it's kind of scary. To learn to swim in a pool, way easier. Well, most Jamaicans don't have
Right.
pools. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We got the ocean, so that's why a lot of us never learned to swim.
Mm-hmm.
When I overcame the whole swimming thing when I decided to go and have locks. Once my locks became a thing,
Right.
the lock journey started, y'all. Now I can go swimming. And now I remember the first time Alore touched my hair. She goes, "Oh, mom, this is so wonderful. We could go swimming together." And those of y'all who don't know, our daughter, me and Norma's daughter, is a mermaid, a professional, real live mermaid, puts on a tail, swims underwater mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a free diver. And when she gets onto that, well, I'm like, I don't know how she gets into the spring, 72 degrees, and she gets down all the way down there, holds her breath for 2.5 minutes now is her
Mm-hmm.
breath hold. And she says that when she is in it, she just is in love with nature. For her, water is her thing. For me, it's earth.
Mm.
Do you have like a special one?
I love the water. I love mountains. Probably trees though. I have to have trees around me wherever I am. I have to. And now if there's trees and water,
It's on, right?
it's
It's on and
yes,
popping.
yes. Waterfalls, trees. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that we take a break right now. It's now 8:30. I look forward to seeing y'all come on back while we're gonna talk about how you guys can connect to this modality that is walking in nature, using nature to help, replenish your soul so you may give your gifts and talents. I love y'all. Come back.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Heckerlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Odgen, thank you for your very generous donation. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Welcome back to Caring for Caregivers. I am Donna and
Cindy Grimes.
Hey, and we are caring for caregivers. Hey, Marcy, how you doing, honey? You didn't know this was happening. Well, now you know. And knowing is half the power. That's G.I. Joe says that. A little bit of kid pops through. Okay, so the modality and aspect of self-care that we are talking about, that caregivers can use while you're in it, while you're doing the caring, while you are giving of this wellspring of your energy. It has to be replenished, y'all. You can't give from an empty cup. And once you have fumes, they're getting fumes, not the real you. So you have to replenish yourself from time to time with different things. So sometimes you're in the muck in the middle of it, and guess what? You need something to grab out of your tool belt right away. So that's what this is about, caring for caregivers. And we're talking about walking in nature. I've done it while at work. I've gone outside and just kind of stood underneath a tree and just looked up, watched the swing. 5 minutes is all it takes me to go downstairs, down the elevator, stand outside in the fresh air, and take a big breath. Take off my mask and take a big breath. As a healthcare worker in the front lines, it is vital that we do this, because if we do not, we will fall, and we will fall to this thing called COVID, and that's not cool. So here we are. Now we are at the point of examples of when to use this tool. When do we get to use this tool? Well, I just said it, at work. When you're in the middle of work, get up on your lunch break, go outside, stand outside, stare up at the sky and say, that is real. The sky is real. The clouds are going to come and go. And I'm going to take this breath. Okay, I'm back. That's the best time, I think, to use it. Most people get a 15-minute break. I would love to think that happens for nurses. 2 15-minute breaks, and you get to step away and all of that. Shabu. It takes you 15 minutes to get in the elevator, get downstairs, all of that. So sometimes you can't take that 15-minute break. You can stand by a window. I've done this in a patient's room before because they had a really good view. And I point out the view to the patient. I'll say to them, hey, oh my gosh, you have the best view ever. Have you looked at it? Opening up the window blinds because I'm helping myself. And guess what? The daylight comes in and it changes that person. Sometimes they're grouchy, and most of the time they're like, oh, I didn't notice it before.
Nice.
Do that. It replenishes you. Eat outside under a tree, whatever you got to do to just get into nature and breathe fresh, wonderful carbon dioxide air, leaves your body, and oxygen gets in.
That reset button.
Reset button. Yes. Yay, Ben said it. Face everything and rise. Yes, Hunty. Yes. That is fear. Letting go of that fear. So, Cindy, what's another example of using this tool?
I do it every day. I walk every day. And I used to use a pedometer. Now I know, I have a sense of how many steps I've done, but I get my 10,000 steps in, and I just walk in beautiful places. I'm lucky to have some really beautiful parks that are near me. But when I travel, I'm finding a beach, I'm finding some kind of park, I'm finding some place to go out there and walk and just breathe fresh air. I had COVID twice. And that was my therapy. There wasn't people around me. I was walking in the woods. I'm just, blessed. I've got a 2-mile loop around that's close to my house to just go out there in the woods and just breathe fresh air and get my vitamin D.
And what's the worst thing that can happen? You lose some weight and get stronger.
Oh, and that was the best thing.
I'm saying
that's one of the best things that happened. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lose some weight, get healthier, feeling better about yourself, just energizing yourself in that moment. Did you want to do it though? I'm not gonna lie, it's a struggle sometimes for me to get up early to go walk. I'm like, y'all, I'm tired.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So you have to just make it a part of your daily routine that you do. You just make it a part of your routine.
Yes.
Without it, you just don't.
Well, I'll tell you a quick little aside. There's a book, and what is the name of it? Younger Next Year. Younger Next Year. So it's written by a physician and some older person who has aged really well. And it talked about how, how we age, basically. And what it said was that there is a point that our body is always in catabolism, like building, till you get to a point. So like you're going up that, try that hill. And once you reach that point, that peak in your physical wellness, like it's downhill from there. And they use the word decomposition. Your body begins to decompose after you hit this peak, which is like, middle age. Well, I'm there now. And that was a very,
well, doesn't feel good.
That was a smack in the face. Say what? Decomposition? Now, however, here's the good news, right? Now, of course, they're selling books with this, right? But you can go like this, where you hit that peak. But if you do these things, instead of doing that boom, downward turn, you're going to go like this and just kind of plateau. And when your number's up, you're gone. Wow. So now what are the keys? Number one is just keep moving. Keep moving.
Yes.
Oh,
there it is.
There it is.
Yes,
there it is. Live strong, fit, sexy, and smart until you're 80 and beyond. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. That changed everything for me. I was at that point, I was 100 pounds overweight. And I kept thinking, I'll start walking or I'll do exercise when I feel better. Over and over, I'm thinking in my head, I'll get out and I'll walk when I feel better. And I finally realized, holy cow, I'm not going to feel better until I get out there and start walking and exercising and moving my body. So I did it, worked through the pain, and dropped about 80 of that 100 pounds. I got still, some to go. But it was done, I burned many, many calories out there in the woods, in the trees, and not only burning like the physical stuff, but a lot of emotional baggage that came with it too. I think you said earlier something about feeling like the trees do something. I totally feel that. That is where, we breathe out, the trees take the oxygen, we take the carbon dioxide. It's this thing that we do, the physical part of it. And I think the same is true of our emotional pain. Like you can put it out there, the trees take it somehow, transmute it, and you bring back some other good energy that is just, revitalizes you. I think that's what I feel. I don't know how true that is, but that's what it feels like for me.
I don't know. Everybody that I talk to says the same thing. That is so true. Now, Norma was just saying that for those of us with leg, knee, or ankle issues, walking in a pool has low resistance, but it's energizing. And I know that there is at the gym here in town, they have the heated pool. And that is really good. And even if you put on weights, I've seen people put weights on when they walk, just as me too. I don't get older. Wayne's saying, I don't get older, I level up. I like that way. And thank you for saying that. That's true, because we do make ourselves squish down if we don't allow for us to keep moving, because keep going. I remember when I first had my surgery and had my hysterectomy, and right out of surgery, they said to me, okay, Miss Davis, it's time to get up and walk. And I was like, I say what?
Yeah. Here's what we're not gonna do.
That's not happening. I was in so much pain. I was so groggy. They were like, nope, we got to get up and walk. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So even when you're having that moment of, I don't think I can do it. Nature for me was a nemesis there for a while because I have this amazing phobia of lizards. And being from the tropics, they're everywhere. They'd be in trees, they fall on you. You know, my cousin was just a horrible person. He would throw them on me.
Did he put them on your ears? Like they would hang over your ears?
He would, they got me. I just, because he knew I had this phobia. So being in nature was difficult for me. I was always triggered. And even now I walk and I'm looking. Did something move over there? Or there's something on this little, oh, wait, did that leaf, is that an actual leaf or is that a lizard? And I go through my own PTSD around my phobia of lizards. And I know I'm not the only one from the islands with this phobia because of this kind of thing happening. So walking in nature for us is a bit triggering. It actually very, very triggering. So now what I do is I say, okay, I can walk in nature as long as it's cleared and I can see what's ahead of me and what's around me. Then I can walk. So that way, if there's a lizard, I can sidestep or I can go around, which I have done that before, cross something and went around because one little lizard was there, but I'm not going by him.
That's funny.
That's a way to do it.
Well, you know, so find a paved trail where you're less likely to see those
find
things,
a lizard.
You know, so I go in the
I like the everywhere. When I tell you that they're on the
well,
pavement,
yes, in Florida, this is true.
They're everywhere, and so I was like, okay, give up being out in nature, or learn to work with the baby dragons. That's Pat. Thank you, Pat Felton.
Tapping.
Working with the tapping. We're going to talk about tapping at one of our times. But working with the baby dragons and knowing that they are just out there doing their thing, and our space in the front of your Phoenix is Rising building is cleared of bugs because we have a lot of baby dragons running around busily doing their thing. I have learned to make peace with that it's there, and it doesn't stop me from going out in nature. And when they show up, I'm triggered, but then I'm like, okay, we're all in this together. We're all out here together. They need the earth too. They're doing their job too. And then I start dropping into gratitude. Wow, I'm so grateful. I don't have any bugs in my yard. I'm so grateful that whatever it is over there doing its job in nature. Yeah, taking care of this thing. I'm grateful there are worms in the earth, even though the wiggling kind of, does it. But I'm grateful because it's turning it around and then creating the trees that then give me the oxygen. That then, once you get into realizing that you're part of the cycle and not apart from it, then you can start to drop into that space of, oh, I'm part of nature too. Even though I'm trapped in my little house or my little building and my you're still part of nature. I'm contributing to nature.
Absolutely. It's spiritual practice for me too, that because I've had my moments, you can't be out in the woods and not see some stuff, right? So the diamondback rattler that crossed my path, it was a moment, right? I'm caught, right? What do? Well, I lean into my knowing, and I didn't even know I was going to do this. I didn't know, but here that, that rattler showed up and he did one of these, looked me in the eyes. And I said, okay, I see you. And I would really like to go that way, which means I would have to cross you. So you decide what you're going to do, but I'll just sit here and wait because I'm in your world, right?
And you are.
Yes. So it was, I didn't know I would do that. If you ask me now what I would do if this animal or this whatever showed up, I couldn't tell you. I just know that in that moment, I'm going to be very present. And I'm going to lean into my knowing that I am divinely guided and held in all circumstance.
And instead of letting the trigger take you down the other road, which would be the fight or flight road that says, fight, run away, and create a situation.
Breathe.
You breathe in that moment. Okay, we're all a part of nature here. We're all a part of it. So how can I honor you as you show up?
Yeah.
And then the medicine that's there. the medicine, the plant medicine, the animal totem that shows up. I always love to
Absolutely.
whip out my
Yes,
phone
yes.
and look up what
What is that message?
What is the message? And it never
Yes.
fails. It's always something
always something.
right on point that you're
Mhm,
looking for. We're
mhm.
going to talk about using that too.
100%.
That kind
yes.
of medicine.
Yes.
Because when you are able to step into that and say, oh, this is a message for me, not, oh my God, this thing is a nuisance and now it's in my path. Oh, this is a message for me.
Yeah. The week of the Diamondback Rattler, that was 4 snakes in a week. You think there was a message there?
Ooh, yeah, definitely. And you
Yes.
looked it up?
Oh yeah.
What was the message?
It's all about rebirth. You know, snake
Ooh.
sheds its skin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's time for
Ooh,
something.
and you were
new,
in that moment
oh,
with
yes.
CSL Ocala
oh,
going
yes.
through the rebirth of the center.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh yeah.
Ooh. For me, it's the lizards. When the lizards show up, the little baby dragons show up, it means to focus on your dreams.
Mm. Wow.
And develop your business. And what have I been doing?
I love it. I love it. No
And
wonder
every
you got
time
lizards all around you.
and it's not that many now. Like I barely have any baby dragons out here. Now, granted, we're in winter, but even in the summer, it wasn't as bad. When we first got here, oh my goodness, they were everywhere. And now we've been clearing, and I've been honoring them.
And you've been tapping.
And I've been doing my tapping. Yes, doing the tap. Every time they show up and they do the little thing with the throat, and I'm like, ooh. It does work. The tapping works. So thank you again, Pat. Thank you. Tool in my tool shed. Where else can we use this tool of walking in nature? Let's say you can't walk and you're having health challenges, or your knees hurt, or your arthritis is messed up, or you're just plain old lazy and you just don't want to walk because it's not your thing. Driving, hello, that works too. You get in your car and go on a scenic drive. I love doing that with Norma.
Yeah.
You know, she drives and I'm like here and I'm just letting the trees go by. And sometimes we pull over. There's some beautiful, beautiful spaces in our different states. Wherever you live, there's always gorgeous driving areas. You can Google it. You can find out what is available around you and just drive. If you have children, it's nice to stick them in the back seat and just go for a drive. And say, okay, we're just going to go for a drive. Leave the computers behind, leave the phone behind, have one in case of emergency, and then just go for a ride.
Do
Crank up
scavenger
some
hunts.
awesome music. Oh,
Scavenger hunt
hunts.
while you're driving with the
Spy,
kids.
things like that. It really does make them aware of the world that's around them, not just the computer, or not just the school, or not just the friends, or not just the but aware of nature and aware of their place in the world, that we are human beings and we get to share this with other animals and other sentient beings.
Sure.
So yeah, going for a drive is very helpful. And I put the window down. Sometimes I pretend I'm a dog. You know, put your arm out the window, especially when you're going down a long road, there's nobody else, your arms out the window. There's something about feeling the air on your skin that feels good. It feels good having the wind come in through the windows, and you'd be like, there's a reason my dog loves it so much. It feels great. And it does help to replenish you. Riding on the bus, Wayne says. Yeah, because somebody else is driving and taking care of that part of it.
Right.
So you get to sit in the spaced out, checking out all the nature around you, looking at every single piece of the divine. And if you get to share that with someone else, how cool is it that you're on the bus with other people? And just, I people watch. I look at other people. I put earbuds in, and that way I might not be listening to anything, but people think I'm listening, and I'm just looking like I'm looking out the window, but I'm actually people watching too, to see their place and how they're connecting with everything around them.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, you can always do this. And it calms you down when you're in the drama of, oh my God, I'm so tired. This was an awful shift. My feet hurt. My back hurts. In that moment of that, just take a deep breath, stare out the window. If you're driving, you're in your car, and just breathe and just let nature take it. Filter it out until when you make it home to your family, instead of bringing home the yuck, nature.
Yes.
Under my umbrella. Yes. Under my umbrella.
You know, one of my favorite retreat experiences was when I was in ministerial school, and we had was in California was the retreat, and one of my friends rented a convertible, and we drove down the California coast.
Wow.
Right, in the convertible. It's just, you know, a fun afternoon. Rent a fancy car that, you know, you can't afford it, so rent it for an afternoon and take an awesome
And
drive with the top
experience it.
down and experience it. It was blast. It was a blast.
That's so good.
And we stayed in a tree house.
Hi, Denise.
We did an Airbnb and we stayed in a tree house, like
That's so
in the
cool.
woods. It was such a great time.
That's so cool.
There's so many beautiful places you can go all over the country. Every state has beautiful places that you can visit, parks, gardens, and things outdoors. You know, I love to look at different foliage.
Mm-hmm.
Or other places, anywhere else.
So you bring that up. I'm glad you said that. That segues right into, what if I just don't want to do this nature thing all by myself? Well, guess what? We have a transformation vacation every single year in beautiful Jamaica, Negril, Jamaica. Let me just tell you guys, we did it for the first time a month and a half ago. This pool is fed by the ocean. That pool that you look at. What I loved about it is that you got to feel what the ocean water felt like without having to brave the current. I mean, we ended up going in and snorkeling and doing that for those who wanted to do that kind of thing. But you got a chance to really experience it. You got a chance to really experience nature. We had a moment, because of the way Tingalayas is set out, which is where we have our transformation vacation. You have the garden side. You feel like you are in, I'm coming over. You feel like you are in the jungle of the Amazon. And then the beach side, which has the cliffs and the ocean view. And you feel like you're on your own secluded island all by yourself. It's the most wonderful, well-rounded, you kind of go back and forth. You cross one little lane road and you go between jungle and ocean. It was so transformative that people didn't even want to leave the resort. We had all these things going on, but Denise, you gotta come join us, hunty. Come to Jamaica with us, man. Yeah, man, we gotta go. Everything, blessings always. I'm telling you, you guys, it's such a moving experience. It's so sacred when you're in that place of breathing. And it's almost as if the foliage, like you said, is breathing with you. This in and out. And it's quiet because we have the whole resort to ourselves. Nobody else is on the resort but our group. So we have both of those spaces for our group. And there's only 16 people at max in our group. So you have all this acreage that you and just us. So everybody, including the staff, when you meet them, they're there with you. We call it a spiritual retreat because we get to connect to the land and put our feet in the dirt and look out at the ocean and be blessed by the sunset every single night. And then we bring a new thought musician with us. John Stringer was with us last year, and he was playing music and downloading new music as he's playing. And we are just the witness of that moment when it drops in, and we are the witness. And we had sound healing and just moments
and food. About the food.
Chef Harry brought it every single meal. It was incredible, but it gave us a chance to be in nature with others, to sit under the trees, to have a red stripe beer, to eat amazing food while being surrounded by this beautiful foliage. It was incredible. And so we decided, how can I then have this love for my island, this part that I missed out on when I was young, that I was not even aware was there, even though I knew, of it, but you don't actually do it. Like we sing of it in Jamaica, but are you actually doing it? And I didn't actually do it until I came here and no longer had the experience. And I said, my soul wants to be on the island. And then I said, my soul wants to be with my friends. on the island. And so many people say to me, I can't go to Jamaica because I'm scared to leave the resort or whatever. And yes, there are dangerous situations that can happen. So that's why we said, why not link up with other Jamaicans and have the experience in a safe environment?
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. So that's the one thing I wanted to kind of plug and let y'all know about that experience, that we have that available. And we take payments, y'all could put it on layaway. There ain't nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking a little chunk of change every single month out of your budget and saying this $200 is going to me going to an island and having the best experience for a whole week. It's in it. Oh, Denise is saying she loves ackee and saltfish. Yes, honey. The food was just ridiculous. We're going to be sharing some of those videos, and I think they're going to be putting something together for us for New Thought Network, Media Network. It's going to be so cool for the end of the year. But it is October of this year, and it's going to be the 25th to November 1st. And we're hanging out for a whole week in Jamaica and having experiences. And we are going to, I think the excursion this year is going to be YS Falls. We get a chance to, and it's not one of the bigger falls like Dunn's River Falls. Lots of people have gone on their cruise or whatnot and went to Dunn's River, but YS Falls is smaller. But they have zip lining, which I plan on doing because I did Blue Hole last time and I jumped in the darn hole. It was terrifying, by the way, but I did it because I was going to be doing it in it. So what else? We are coming down to the end of our show today. And I don't know if there's any questions. Is there any questions? What's your boogle? What's a boggle? I have no idea what a boggle is. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I do not.
Oh, no. Wayne, I have no idea, hon. If you find out what that is, let me know. Okay? And Denise, you said you love the beach there, especially in Port Antonio. Yes, honey, but I find that the beach that I love the most is in St. Anne. And so... what else? Walking in groups. This is how you can learn more about this tool. Ready? State parks, national parks. They're always available, beautifully kept, amazing. We have some of the best parks here in Ocala, Florida.
Close my eyes.
Oh,
I open my heart.
It's time.
I'll take a deep breath.
You can go on hiking trails.
Let the healing
Go with a
start.
friend. You can walk in
I
groups,
lift
meet
my
up. There are
hands.
Facebook groups. There's all kinds of stuff
I
that you
enjoy.
can do to enjoy. And you can experience that with others. So with that, I think we're at the end.
I feel the
Thank you so much, Faith,
Thank you.
for singing us out with that song.
Yes.
I appreciate it, y'all. See y'all next week. We're calling to rise, y'all. Rise. Spirit, rise up. Take care of yourself. Deuces.
Thank you.
I let in my soul. I clear my mind. I'm here and now. In present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns.